No.
Yep.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
How are you doing?
I'm at your hospital. Is wrestling with pinchers.
What do you mean?
For St. Patty's.
Oh,
The kids all hyped up.
yes, they are. Yes.
Excuse me. That was great.
We don't do the leprechauns at our house, so they're always setting traps going, how come we don't have to catch leprechauns? We're never going to catch leprechauns in this house.
It's not gonna happen.
Easter Bunny and Santa Claus come.
Yeah.
That's about the extent.
No, we don't need any more imaginary characters.
We don't do Elf on the Shelf. That kind of stuff.
I tried doing Elf on the Shelf. I feel like I failed as a mom. I waited too long, and then I wasn't moving it enough. And the kids were like, "Mom, I'm supposed to move every day. Why is it her move?"
Our oldest son,
Yeah, why
Hayden,
not?
we did it for, but I never bought into it.
I'd like to call the meeting of the Silver Lake Salem Joint One School District to order. Please stand for the pledge by our Cub Scouts.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then boy, I don't think he's missed that littlest one.
Mr. Hamilton,
Present.
Mrs. Galich.
Here.
Mr. Hurst,
Present.
Mr. Gentile,
Here.
and I am present. Going to meet open meeting compliance check.
Check.
All right. Do we have a motion for approval of consent agenda items?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items with one modification for the February 24th meeting minutes, the closed session meeting minutes, to add that Mr. Gentile joined in session during closed session via phone.
Is there a second with the addition?
I'll second.
Motion by Mrs. Galich, second by Mr. Hurst. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
I'm going to abstain because I did miss the regular board meeting. I think it just makes sense for me to abstain.
And then we have approval of resignations and appointments.
Yep, just looking for the board to approve the retirement of Mr. Pete Ott after 29 years of service. He is looking for the next chapter in his life. So just looking for a motion to approve that language.
Well, I'd first like to thank Mr. Ott for his service to the district for all those years. He was a teacher who I had and my siblings, and it was very awesome to have as a teacher, and I'm excited for him to be able to join us next chapter. So
Yep, great person, just a Dodger fan.
thank you, Mr. Ott. I make a motion to approve the resignation.
I'll second.
Motion by Hopkins, second by Gentile. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So any public comments? Any public comments? There are no public comments. Moving on to board reports.
District administrator update, nothing really to report other than we are about to prepare for phase 2 of the referendum. You will see that the spring break, you'll see trees beginning to be removed in preparation for the updated playground. Other than that, we're working to get ready for a very busy summer around here. So, and then at this point, where there's no costs or charges because we're still waiting for the next phase. And then budget update, just we finally got as close to a CPI update for the 26-27 school year. Most districts are considering 3.22%, just so the board knows. And then lastly, this is the last board meeting for Mr. Brian Hopkins. So I would just like to acknowledge his service, not only to the community, the staff, and most importantly to the kids. Serving your community, not only as a coach, but a teacher, and then also taking on this task as I'm just going to say it, a younger community member is noble and courageous, and we appreciate your service and your leadership.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Board celebrations.
I have several. On March 6th, we had the Raffle Rally Spike event. I'd like to thank all the volunteers, the staff, and the students and families that came out, plus the raffle contributors. It was a really cool event. I enjoyed it. I like hoops and hot dogs, but I think this one was good also. And then I'd also like to recognize the talented band students who participated in Band Fest on March 7th and also at the District Solo Ensemble on February 28th. Both events are well attended and interesting to go to. If ever you have a chance to go to Band Fest, it's cool because you have all the feeder schools with all their band members, plus all the high school students play. And so some schools have fifth graders that start out, fourth graders that start out, and then they have each grade level, all the schools together, they play together, and then the high school joins in with them. It's a really cool event. And I also would like to echo Mr. Trotter's thoughts about Brian Hopkins. I knew I was going to do this. But Brian, I'd like to thank you for your service to the community to ensure that every child has every educational opportunity. You're an inspiration to all people, all ages, and somebody your age to take on this task. It's inspiring. So I'd like to thank you for that.
I appreciate it.
And then last, I'd like to thank Mr. Trotter and whoever else is in the school for the school communication. It comes timely and it's effective. Plus your, what is it called, Mr. Trot News?
Mr. Trot Talk?
Yeah, I
Talk.
like that also. So I just want to thank you for that because I think it's good to have the school community so informed. So thank you for that. That's the end of my celebrations.
So I have two. I would like to, and I guess they're going to be an echo of Vicky's. I did really enjoy the Raffle Rally Spike event. As someone who's been a part of Hoops and Hot Dogs for a long time, it was cool to see the new event. Plus, I liked that there was a lot of open space in the gym for the kids to run around. They weren't as contained as in the past because obviously you didn't have all the bleachers out. We only had one court set up. So was a really good event, well attended, and a lot of fun. So thanks to all the volunteers and people who made it possible. And then as far as Mr. Hopkins goes, Brian, obviously 3 years with you. You've done a heck of a job. You've been a heck of a leader. And I'd like to say thank you for everything you've done for the district and the community. So you will be missed, sir.
Appreciate it.
I also want to throw my hat in that ring. Brian, you've been a strong hand on the tiller in some tumultuous times. You're the right man for the time, and we thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Excited to see what the next chapter for you is.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
I want to follow suit with the glazing.
Yeah. Super uncomfortable.
Brian, honestly, been a pleasure serving with you the last few years. Appreciate all your contributions. I don't believe we'd be where we're at today without you. The district owes you a debt of gratitude. The greater community owes you a debt of gratitude. You made a lot of sacrifices to continue in this role.
I appreciate it.
Grateful for it, and it's been an honor serving with you. And then additionally, I would like to just shout out the entire staff. The power outage was just, it was pitch black. I came to pick my kids up and then someone else's kids, and it was bad. And the staff did a phenomenal job. It was as organized as it could have been. So hats off to the entire staff for the power outage and how it's handled.
When I also like to echo that to Mr. Trotter, Andrea, the office staff for handling that. It was really well, and I thought, I heard good feedback. Like sometimes we've heard in the past, this wasn't communicated or that, but even with phones down, I think it sounded like things are handled really well. And
We don't have a backup generator.
Yeah.
That made when everything's connected to the internet, that was a little difficult, especially your phone. So
as
yeah,
especially working in schools, that doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
Things like that.
We're going to
So
talk about that.
thank you.
Trust me, it's on my list.
And then I do want to thank you guys who have served with the administrators who have been here, Mrs. Taylor, Mrs. Zachary, Mr. Trotter, Kim, and Angie. I've really enjoyed it. I appreciate the staff. Appreciate all the hard work that you guys have done to continue the excellence that we have here at Riverview. And also, it's not easy being on a school board, especially when you live and work in the community so closely with people and parents and their kids in my role. So just, I think we're in a phenomenal spot with Mr. Trottier at the helm, what we're doing, and some really strong board members on our board. And I just, we've worked really hard the last 3 years to follow policy and procedure and make sure that we as a board are staying in our lane and allowing our superintendents to work and allowing our teachers to teach. And I just hope that our board continues to follow that suit and does the job of the school board, and lets Chris do his job and everybody else do their jobs professionally. So appreciate you guys. And yeah. And if you don't, I'm going to come do a public comment. So. Any new business or discussion? The first would be the Act 57 update.
Yep.
Right there.
Traditionally, we run these through policy, but we thought based on our unfortunate recent district's history, we thought we could bring this to the full board to make sure this gets reviewed and approved collectively. You're going to see a lot of recent legislation around grooming and sexual misconduct by staff. So we're going to go through three policies that have options for the board. The rest, if you're familiar with Neola, who's our company, they basically take legislation, case law. They have attorneys on staff. They have experienced and who are also retired superintendents who analyze it, and then they bring it and make it recommendations. So this was brought to our recent attention. When you see any pinkish, that means they're deleting that part of the policy. Green's recommended. So if we go to the first one, which the board I shared on Friday, 1213, the green is what's being recommended. So I'll just go through this briefly. There are decisions at the end for the board that is optional language to add. And I'll share my recommendations with the board and you can go from there. But most of these, again, are just updates. Traditionally in policy, we follow suit with Neola and their recommendations for policy updates, but they're always willing to give us freedom. So as you go through this, I will, this one talks about student supervision and welfare to make sure that situations are handled appropriately, staff personal liability, and the placing a precedent on the welfare of students. So I won't go through all this language. I don't need to read it to you, but I will go down here. This is additional language. You'll see this appear also in policy 4213. It's the same language. Again, it's recommended, and I'll just kind of go through it. It's about appropriate staff and student relationships, and I'll read through. The district is committed to maintaining safe, professional development, appropriate relationships between staff and students. All employees, volunteers, and adults working with students are expected to uphold clear and appropriate boundaries and report concerns to protect student welfare. So this lists prohibited conduct. Okay, so what I'm showing you here, when you see a box, that means this is optional. It's a drafting note. This is optional language. This is not included in the legislation, but they are saying boards, if you feel like based on recent incidences or your community values / preferences, you can add this. So it addresses prohibited conduct, which talks about preferential treatment or favoritism from staff to students, boundary invasions, and you can see at the bottom and I'll start right here at the third paragraph to highlight it. Any behavior that lacks a clear educational and medical justification or that serves the emotional and physical needs of the adults rather than the student is strictly prohibited. Such behaviors may be indicators of grooming and will be subject to immediate investigation. Inappropriate boundaries invasions may include, but are not limited to, the following: hugging, kissing, physical contact with a student, sexual jokes, engaging in talk containing sexual innuendos, talking about sexual topics, showing pornography to a student, inappropriate comments about a student's body or appearance, taking an undue interest in a student, having a special friend or relationship, initiating extending contact with students, using email, text message, or websites to discuss personal topics, giving students rides in staff members' personal vehicles, or taking students in personal outings without administrative approval, invading a student's privacy, going to a student's home for non-educational purposes, inviting students to a staff's home, giving gifts or money to a student for no legitimate educational reason, accepting gifts or money from a student being overly touchy with a student, favoring certain students by inviting them to come to the classroom at non-class times, getting a student out of class to visit with a staff member, providing advice or counseling regarding a personal problem related to sexual behavior, substance abuse, mental, physical health, family relationships, unless properly licensed or authorized to do so, being alone with the student behind closed doors without legitimate educational purpose, telling the student secrets and it's each of the students or similar activities or behaviors. Inappropriate boundary invasions are prohibited, must be prohibited. So that goes through basically that will reappear in the next one. I just wanted to go through that because that's ultimately the verbiage the board would have to agree to advance this language as choice. So romantic or sexual conduct, outside, and then it goes into outside district staff parent relationships. Policy permits appropriate interactions from legitimate pre-existing non-district relationships. Staff who are parents or of enrolled students must maintain professional conduct in all school-related activities and communication, avoiding favoritism, conflicts of interest, whereas relationships compromise professional responsibilities. And then it continues to go on to off-site school activities. Students staff must maintain professional boundaries during all school-sponsored off-site activities such as field trips, competitions, travel overnight. Increased vigilance is required. We would also always take those necessary precautions. For example, if we had an overnight, we would make sure a male and female are there. That's just traditional. Well, I should say that's what we would do. Student reporting process. So this is where you get an option: reporting of alleged allegations of inappropriate student and student staff and student relationships. Student reporting process. This is where you get a choice. Students who feel uncomfortable or witness inappropriate behaviors are encouraged to report concerns to a trusted staff member or counselor. I would recommend that we add via the rephrase that, to a trusted staff member, school counselor, or via the district's anonymous reporting tool. That would be, we use Speak Up, Speak Out. That goes directly to staff. We also have on the student, when they open up their Chromebook, we have a counselor request too. So that's also goes to it. So I would recommend that. All reports will be treated confidentially. And then you can see staff required reporting of misconduct. Any concerns about inappropriate student conduct must report immediately to a supervisor, principal, or the district's compliance officer. Anonymous reports will be investigated per district harassment policy procedures outlined in policy 5517. Mandated reporting, that is state boilerplate. Every year staff's trained and goes through an extensive DPI training. So that language is pretty consistent. So what's in front of the board right now is to not only we need a motion. We can adopt these, Mr. Hopkins, either as a group or individually, however you'd like. But we would want to comment individually on 1213 on do we want to add the language, and this could be a discussion item with the board on the additional language of appropriate staff and student relationships.
So I am in favor of adding that. However, the only thing reading this over the weekend that kind of raised my eyebrows was around staff who are parents of students. And it said enrolled students must maintain professional conduct in all school-related activities and communications, avoiding favoritism or conflicts of interest. I just think that line, as a teacher whose kids might go here, could that's very subjective, right? So like if, let's say I'm a teacher here and my kids and Luke's a parent, he's showing favoritism just because he says it, is it real? And I don't know where that relates to grooming when it's their own child. That to me seems more related to a staff member parent child relationship and not the grooming aspect. So I don't, anybody else?
I would disagree with that. I think as it's written, I think it's very effective, and I think it's an effective tool to have in place. And I'm just going to say it, just because it's a parent doesn't mean inappropriate things are not happening. And
No, I'm talking about
And-
with their own kid, where it says avoiding favoritism.
I understand that.
Brian, are you talking about the the potential that there could be perceived favoritism.
Well, that's with anything.
Right, but we don't have a policy that says the word favoritism towards a staff member right now.
There is a call out at the bottom, the outside district and staff parent relationships, where it just says it permits appropriate interactions, as long as, you know, that you're trying to maintain professional conduct. So I think that that would give a staff member who had kids here, you know, room to argue and say, I'm doing my best to maintain professional relationships. But if it veers outside of that, it also says the district can intervene.
Also, you know, I would assume that with any allegation that would be made of that, there would be a pretty thorough investigation and to look into the veracity of those claims anyways. And so we would probably be able to suss out whether that was legitimate or not. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I can see how it could be
Yeah, that's
taken
something that threw
advantage
me.
of.
I didn't see where that fit there from a parent to their own child, but
The one question that I had, and not to gloss over, because I think there's some discussion there, but the one that I was wondering about is actually number one, the hugging, kissing, or physical contact with a student. Obviously, kissing is inappropriate, but with the younger grades, and I can use my own kids as an example of this, who are notorious huggers of teachers. I mean, do we really want to? Is there some other way that we can word that where it doesn't give the notion to all staff that they cannot allow a student to give them a hug? Because to me, it seems like for the emotional well-being of the student, we would want them comfortable to hug their educators.
I agree.
I just, not to go down a rabbit hole, but as a high school principal, when I had a senior, junior knucklehead who walked in, you know,
Big hug.
yeah, because they needed
Yeah.
it, right? Because they
Yeah.
needed it.
So that
I
one-
didn't hug Brian when he got kicked out of Mrs. Dumais' class, but maybe I should have.
But I think that paragraph right above it
Side note, I've
explains
heard that
it.
whole
No.
story.
Yeah. Oh, I
think that
know.
paragraph right above it explains, it says that serves the emotional or physical needs of the adult rather than the student is strictly prohibited.
And it may, I caught
We could
it
put
in there as well.
inappropriate
Or
physical contact.
Excessive hugging.
Yeah.
I agree, Vicky. I think that does kind of cover it. I just don't know if it is clear enough that the educator.
I mean, I think
isn't
that's
gonna be
clear
made
because a
uncomfortable.
student-initiated hug is far different than,
Agreed.
right?
Mhm.
Agreed.
I don't know, because I also think there's times where a kid needs a hug and they don't know they need a hug.
Yeah.
So a staff member gives them one.
That's a valid point too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
There's a
think-
lot of kids who won't seek it out who do need it.
I gotta be
Like-
honest, it's
like-
a-
like
it's
you
a
just
tough
said, what the
slope
kid
as
I
you start
do.
to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, over police it, so to speak, right?
Right.
Because the last thing we want is a teacher sitting there if a kid's coming to give them a hug,
Feeling
thinking about a
handcuffed.
policy, like, what do
Yeah,
I do here,
Right.
right?
Yeah. I don't want to handcuff the staff to
So-
emotionally support the students who need the emotional support.
So we could just say inappropriate physical contact with a student. That keeps it vague enough in policy.
Yeah. That may suffice.
Right, I mean, that's-
just to remove
It's
the
policy.
specificity of the hugging.
Right.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate. Outside of that, I don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Brian does make a good point on his. I don't know if we want to have any further discussion about that or.
Let's stay on this one for now, because I thank you for that. But I agree. I think it should say just physical contact with a student, but there might be a different place to include in an appropriate way hugging and kissing.
That's what I was
Right, so
talking
there's
about,
still
additional
teeth to it.
language.
And I don't know that we have the expertise to suss that out right now. I think this could be something that Ryan could look at with you,
Can.
and then you guys could bring it back another time.
Would Ryan do this for us, or could we have Neola consider that?
I think personally, Neola is an organization that works for us, whereas Ryan Hyden, our attorney, will hear what we want out of it, and he can
the
craft it
language.
that way
Yeah, okay.
towards more of a direction of the board. So, because I do think there is a place where I think we should have some teeth in the area of hugging and kissing if it's inappropriate, but it shouldn't just be vague in that sense.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
So So the recommendation, because this will be applicable in another policy too,
Yep.
is delay approval pending Ryan's review of boundary invasions, subsection 1 and around the hugging, kissing,
Yeah.
and other
I think
physical
we'd like to
contact.
see the hugging language change to something along the lines of
A little bit more.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
And Chris, let me ask this. Obviously, this is an optional thing. If we were to approve this without the optional language and wait for Ryan to redraft it, so we had something on the files, would that be?
Yeah, we could do that.
Right? I mean, can't we approve this
Mhm.
minus that language?
Yep.
Yeah, we could,
Right, because
as
the
long as we
policy
draft
is
that
still
into it.
there, and we're just.
We could bring it back to policy committee. We're looking to schedule that and then just review that at the next policy
just
committee and
saying
bring it
this
for
way
approval.
we get the, we're not delaying
Correct.
the
Yeah.
speed with which we need to get this
Mm-hmm.
policy in place, but then we have time to draft the language to make sure we as a board are comfortable that, to Brian's point, it has the teeth, but it also allows some leeway because we certainly don't want to handcuff
Mm-hmm.
our staff who we know care about the students, right?
Mr. Hopkins, would you like us to revisit that?
And if you could revisit, if you guys could revisit that part about staff members and students, because I just,
Is that, let me just make sure I have the exact
outside
location.
district and staff parent.
That's what I thought, okay.
relationships.
Yep, okay.
I just don't, I don't want someone with an axe to grind to
I understand.
search in policy and think they find something because it's in policy.
Spoken like an educator.
Well, if that's the case, then we're good on discussion. I'd make a motion to approve the changes with the exception to section 1 and what is the other section? I don't know if the other section was.
Outside student, outside district and staff parent relationships.
Yeah.
I'll second. So there's a motion to approve this option with subject to further review for item number 1 and outside district and staff parent relationships. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right, 3213.
Sorry.
As soon as the internet works here, maybe we're out of power, I don't know. Again, as you'll see here, apologize, let me scroll up. You're going to see this similar recommendations from Neola. Delete pink, approve green, and then you come back to the same language that we just discussed in 1213. This is the optional language. So if your recommendation would be the same,
Stay consistent.
would stay consistent.
So you're gonna make the same motion, Joe?
Yeah, you can make the same motion. Are they laid out in the exact same fashion? Yeah. Okay.
They are. I went through them.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended language with the exception to item 1 and the parent-student boundaries outside of the school.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And 4213 is, again, same language, recommendations for deletion in pink, approval in green, and then again, the same language we just approved, or we just are going to send to our personal attorney for review before approval. So the same motion to be carried as the previous two.
You guys want to step up and make that one too?
I just
Okay.
keep
Yeah.
it consistent.
Okay. I will go ahead and make the motion to approve the change language with the exception to item 1 and the parent-student outside of the district boundary.
I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye, sorry.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And then this does not include the language in question. There are no deletions, only recommendations around reporting. And these are in green. There's no other options based on Neola. These are recommended from Neola. So I'd look for a motion to approve.
And we provided training so that staff know this is here, how the tools they have to report these
Yep.
things. Make a motion to approve.
Second?
Motion by Hopkins and Hamilton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
The next agenda item is the April school board training. I had talked to Chris and Ryan about this. This is for our attorney, Ryan Hayden, to come in and do a board training similar to what we had back in 2 years ago.
Yeah.
With
B.
WASB.
Yep.
Again, I think, certainly, I put an emphasis on how we need to do conduct as a board when I got on. And I think we've done a really good job at it. I think it's really hard to kind of fall into the trap sometimes of not doing the role as a board member. And so I think, this is a training everyone should go through each year, but I certainly think this is something that having our legal representation come in and give our board training on our role, on Chris's role, on the teacher's roles, so that we make sure we have policy and procedure and we let Chris run the day-to-day operations and we go from there. So he would do this at your guys' April meeting after the board elections.
It'd be good for a new board member coming on too to
Yep.
have that training.
And he'll discuss obvious things too, like quorums and open records and all the things. So
I think it's a great idea and probably something we should, to your point, get in the habit of doing on an annual basis, right? It's like you said, it's easy to fall into the pitfalls, right? Day-to-day stuff, right? But, how are we managing the school, coherent governance, right? Knowing our roles, knowing our responsibilities versus what the district administrator and the leadership team we have in place, right? We shouldn't be bogged down in the day-to-day operational details of the school, right? That's why we pay Chris and the rest of the staff here and following policy and procedure and, making sure we're giving them the guardrails to do what they need to do. So I think it's a good training for us to be reminded of.
Agree.
any further discussion? Make a motion to approve the April school board training.
I'll second.
Second by Hurst. Motion by Hopkins, second by Hurst. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And C, set a date for the school board budget workshop.
This is can be a discussion, but I was talking with Tim. I think new board members coming on, and I found this to be beneficial in previous districts to hold a separate meeting for a school budget workshop. It just allows, and it'd be open to the public. I mentioned it in my interview, actually. Just to give a history and greater context to school finance to the best of our ability. The history going back for us elder statesmen, QEO language, 1993 and up, and talk of just about the history, decisions that have made in Madison, how it impacts local school boards and communities, and then give kind of a state of the district as we move forward. Tim is gone the week of the 28th. So we were looking at, we would probably need probably anywhere between an hour and a half to go through it. Tim and I would lead it, create a presentation. Again, this would be my first one doing, so I'm still familiar myself with our current budget, but at that point, we would like to do this prior to the 28th, where the board could then review and possibly approve a tentative budget, which is normal practice on the 28th. So it'd be nice for you to see that, ask questions. So just looking, for a date the week of the 20th. I know weekends are hard for all of us, but we could do it anytime the week of the 20th that would work. If that's something the board would consider. If you do not want to consider, that's okay too. I
think it's a great idea personally. It would be very beneficial. I know Tim has to travel. Does he have a day that's better for him?
No, he would be okay. He made it sound like the week of the 20th was open.
And is there any dates in that don't work for you?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday would be best.
Would be the best in the evening, obviously.
Yeah, I'm off.
So is our board meeting the 21st or the 28th?
28th.
28th. Okay.
And the 23rd is that WASB
Mhm.
event.
So it would be the 22nd or the 24th. I mean, I can make myself available on the 22nd.
Mhm.
Do you want to do it at the same time, 6 o'clock? Do you want to do it earlier?
6 works.
6 works for me on the
6 o'clock on the
22nd.
22nd.
Okay.
6 o'clock on the 22nd.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
make a motion that we set up a school board budget workshop on April 22nd at 6 p.m. With Tim and you and the board.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next meeting will be April 22nd at 6 p.m.
April 28th.
28.
Nope, it'll be April 22nd
April
at 6
22nd
p.m.
will be our budget workship meeting.
Budget workshop meeting.
And
And
then
the
next
next
regular
regular meeting will be April 28th, 2026. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn to closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 19851 and the following.
I second that.
Second by Galich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We will move into closed session.
Thank you. We are. Yeah, we'll come back. to it.
Do we need Chromebooks?
No. I just need your copies of your
I
closed
can't
session.
also